Today in the Fresh Brew Run Club, I'm comparing the Nike ZoomX Invincible to the Nike ZoomX Invincible 2. What's the difference? Welcome back to the Fresh Brew Run Club. So for today's video, I'm answering the great age-old question, what is the difference between the Nike ZoomX Invincible versus the Nike ZoomX Invincible 2? So I posted my initial thoughts on the ZoomX Invincible 2 after one run. There was a lot of comments asking, hey, what's the difference? There is no difference. So I want to cover that in depth today. The Nike ZoomX Invincible, the initial version came out last year. This is one of my favorite running shoes. It is a fantastic shoe if you're looking for something for easy runs, for long runs. I even ran these in a marathon. I have made, 6 to 10 videos about this shoe. So subscribe to my channel, check out the playlist that I made. I'll link that below. Nike is releasing the Nike ZoomX Invincible 2 this summer. I did get one on StockX, so I have been running in it for a little while now, so I wanted to make a direct comparison. So what I'm gonna do today is go over just the details and the differences between the shoes, just like sort of visually and at first glance. Then I'm gonna go for an 8-mile run. The first 4 miles I will run in the original version, and then the last 4 miles I will run in the Invincible 2s for a direct comparison, and then give my thoughts, because what really matters is not necessarily how it looks, but how it feels. So I'm gonna start off by looking at some of the similarities. So the main similarities with this shoe are the outsole, which is identical. They use the same exact one. So it has these nubs or cleats of basically one solid piece of rubber on the bottom, on the outsole of the shoe. And then the second major similarity is the midsole, which I think this is really the heart of what the shoe is. It's this gigantic chunk of ZoomX foam. So this is, in my opinion, what makes the shoe really fun to run in. It's a lot of ZoomX foam. I really like it. I'm glad they didn't make major changes to it, but it's also kind of like, it's the same, right? This is like the main part of what makes this shoe unique versus other shoes on the market, and it's exactly the same. It's literally the same midsole. And then some other slight similarities. They both have the fly knit upper, sort of a tightly woven fly knit upper, and a very well padded collar around your ankle. So that's kind of the major similarities. Some of the differences, and a lot of them are sort of visual and aesthetic. The biggest difference, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but the fly knit pattern is a little bit different. But with the V1, the fly knit pattern is kind of the same throughout the whole shoe. This one has a couple different designs going on throughout the shoe. The other difference that I noticed off the bat is the heel collar padding remains the same, but it looks like it's kind of a fly knit material, whereas this one is, I'm not really sure what this is, but it's kind of like a sort of a plush fabric material. Another noticeable difference is the heel clip. So on the first version, you have this sort of design that kind of helps lock your heel into the shoe and provide a little bit of stability. On the V2, it's a little bit of a different design. It kind of comes up higher. I've read that is meant to increase stability. I'm not sure I noticed it on my first run, but that's why I'm doing the running comparison to give an exact comparison there. But that clip on the back is a little bit bigger this time around, so probably providing a little more stability. One thing I did notice, and this was a criticism that I saw with the initial version, is the shoelaces are different. So these ones have these very like elasticy, kind of stretchy shoelaces, and they're not super long. I have a very narrow foot, so it's not a big deal. I had plenty of shoelace to double knot my shoes. This one is not elasticy. It's kind of more of just like a standard shoelace, but it is much longer. So if you had issues with the first one where the shoelace wasn't long enough, they made a much longer shoelace. I have to triple knot these just so that the shoelaces aren't flying around. So another difference I noticed is the tongue. It's really sort of this like plush material on top. I liked it. I had no problem with it. On the V2, it's a little more reinforced. It has, I think this is the fly knit material, but it's definitely like a much thicker material. The eyelets where the shoelaces are tied through is sort of reinforced with like one piece. You can see that black piece all the way around the laces. On the V2, the eyelets are all individual eyelets. I don't know how much of a difference that is other than aesthetics. And then I think the biggest aesthetic difference that I noticed is on the inside of the shoe. You have the full Nike swoosh on the V1, and then you have sort of this mini Nike swoosh on the V2. So those are the major differences that I noticed. There are some small aesthetic ones, like ZoomX is printed on the outside of the midsole where it is not here. On the back of the shoe, the swoosh is on the clip where On the original version, it's on the actual like upper portion. There's a little piece of reflective material here, whereas on the new version, it just says Nike ZoomX. So those are the major and minor differences between the two shoes. Overall, not a huge difference, but I'm gonna go on a run to actually see like how does it feel when I'm running. So I'm gonna run 4 miles in these, come back to my car, change shoes, run 4 miles in these, and give my immediate thoughts. And then I'm gonna wrap it up with a summary to really answer the question, is the V2 that much different than the V1? I think you can kind of see the direction I'm going, but I want to run in these first and just get that totally fair comparison between the two shoes. So let's go for a run. All right, so I'm here at my starting location. Like I said, I'm gonna run 4 miles in the initial version of the ZoomX Invincible and then 4 miles in the V2. I'm gonna go pretty slow today, probably 8:30 to it feels softer on the top of my foot, which is nice. All right, so I'm about a mile in. I want to do like a quick video so I'm not completely out of breath right now, but basically the shoes feel exactly the same except for the upper. Like I said, it feels softer on the top of my foot, but otherwise, I mean, the midsole is the same, the outsole is the same. It really does feel like the same shoe, but 1 mile in, those are my thoughts so far. I picked a very bad place to record this video. It's in front of like a dog grooming salon. So there's like all these people just like taking pictures of their dogs outside. They're barking, cars are idling. So bad spot to film. I thought it was a nice secluded place, but anyway, 3 more miles to go and then I'll be done with this. The sun is out. People are wandering around aimlessly, staring at their phones, not paying attention. Pokemon Go season is finally here. Now, if you play Pokemon Go, would I recommend the Nike ZoomX Invincible 2? Yeah, sure. You know, give you that cushion you need to catch a holographic Charizard. To be clear, I'm not being critical, I'm just saying be careful when you are staring at your phone and wandering into traffic. All right, so 4 miles down, I ran that one faster than my first one. Want to see how far I could push these. I ran about a 7:10 last mile, and you know, they're fine. They're fine for that speed. You know, any faster than that, you might want to find something else. But overall, what is the difference between the first Invincible and the Invincible 2? I say very little. Like I've said a few times, the top of the shoe feels a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable compared to the V1. But that's about the only difference, other than, you know, the things I went through aesthetically and the laces. I didn't notice more stability with this one, but yeah, not a huge difference, which that's the interesting thing. Like, on one hand, I really liked the first Invincible, so I'm glad they didn't make some drastic changes and change the midsole and mess with what makes that a great shoe. But on the other hand, is the V2 enough of an upgrade for you to pay the full price when it comes out versus maybe the discounted price that you get for the first version while those are still around? Of course, both the shoes are on StockX. You know, a couple other things I can think of, like maybe there will be better colorways with the V2, so if that's something you're interested, I know I am, so that could be a reason to purchase it. The laces are better. Of course, you can always switch out laces, but I think the laces are are a little bit of a more standard type of lace that I think people will like a little bit more, but otherwise it really is a very similar shoe. So that is the comparison. That is today's video. If you have any questions about this that I can answer for you, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to reply, or maybe turn them into a new video at some point. But that is today's video. Thank you for watching.